Hey guys, in this video, you're going to see an actual live coaching call on how I'm walking through how I structure content for myself and my clients on how we attract affluent clients with discretionary income and sell them on our high ticket services even before we say the price. And wanted to hop on here because the quality is a little low, but bear with me if you watch the entire video. I promise you, you will get a better return on your ads, and also organically, you'll start to see an increase in engagement and people reaching out to you for your high ticket sales. So watch the entire video. Hopefully you enjoy it. Are you guys seeing the blank one?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I talked about this, right? Like, hey, at our clinic, we're doing, and I had the street cred, right? Because I also come at it from like, hey, I'm also a clinic executive. You know what I mean? Like,
hmm
we recently crossed the 175K a month mark, just utilizing what I'm about to show you. And a lot of it is content, not even like anything else. It's like paid ads. Yeah, paid ads, but more so content. And we focused on what would create the most cost-effective content, which will give you an ROI, and that's
Uh,
content with virality. And all virality is attention, right?
yeah.
Plus shareability equals virality. And I'm not talking about like, hey, we gotta build a YouTube video and we're gonna go viral nationally. It's viral in your local area to maximize ad spend and return on investment. But in a local sense, if you are, and we'll get into like targeting your dream outcome and dream clients, but if you are focusing on getting attention and shareability, that will just maximize the efforts on obtaining your dream client, the people that can afford your services, right?
hmm
So when we're creating content, we focus on these elements, right? I'm gonna draw a triangle here, and then move this real quick, and then I'll share with you from a clinic perspective, like how we're generating these numbers and all that. But when we're creating content, um, we think about it like this, right? Most most people, and I'm talking about content creators in general, in terms of they're creating content for ads or whatever, they think the niche, just focusing on the niche is enough, right? We've done it before. I've done it before. And to give you an example for like, one of your local clients, a med spa, could be like, hey, new moms in Denver. That's niche, right?
hmm
The thing about that is it is, one, they pay the least, but it's the biggest audience of people, right?
hmm
Which is not bad if that's who you're trying to target strategically. But where we mess up is if we are not and we're not strategic about it. And you'll understand like when I draw this next thing is the next one up is qualified, right? Where they spend a little bit more than the niche, but they're less people,
Mhm.
right? And that could be, if we're on this example of like moms, it could be, you know, moms in Denver who are executives. That's qualified. You know what I mean?
hmm
But then at the top of the triangle is like the dream client, who's like the least amount, but they pay like they don't drop a bat, spending
hmm
like 5 or 10K on a service, whether that be for coaching or aesthetics, right?
hmm
Um, and that could be like new moms in Denver who want accountability to reach their aesthetic goals. They've done it before in the past. They know of fillers, yada yada yada, right?
Mhm.
Um, for the coaching client that I just had, I'll give you an example. Her niche was, you know, moms around the area, right? Qualified was like affluent moms who are in the area who love like Burberry and all that stuff. But her dream client was moms in her area who love Burberry, but they're Chinese, and they're here visiting. They're in the Vancouver area actually. They're Chinese. They're married to their spouses. They have a lot of money and they care about aesthetics and they have money to blow basically. So basically, long story short, her dream client, we were like, hey, let's make an ad in Chinese. You know what I mean? And talk about those things. So one, coupled with attention, right? If we get the attention through like the value-driven content, and because you're telling me your dream client is Chinese and we do an ad in Chinese speaking to what they actually care about, that's shareability equals virality for when we actually do promote ads, right? But that's just half of the puzzle. That's half of the puzzle in terms of you know creating content that speaks to the psychographics of whoever you're trying to target. And it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Like you can argue that, hey, you just want to focus on your dream clients. It's not necessarily the case. You want to define where they are. And if it is strategic to market to an individual, that's okay as long as it's by design. So for instance, like if it's a med spa or whatever that is, you know, like going through their grand opening, we wouldn't want to directly start off with this. We would go niche and say like, hey, moms of Denver, here's a Botox offer, $9.99 a unit. You know what I mean? But on the other end of the triangle too, in terms of content, right? This is where oops, I dropped my pen. This is where most content creators get lose sight on when they're actually just creating content, because there's not a kind of framework and they're just creating content for content's sake. And they're like, hey, why isn't this working? Right. Again, we're not trying to go, I know I'm talking about viral, but I'm not necessarily saying like, hey, you got 1,000 views on this video, that equals success. That's not necessarily what we're talking about. We're talking about creating pieces of content to sell individuals that are a dream client, maybe they're qualified or a niche, right? And this is how we do it. Is on this triangle, which correlates, they both correlate with each other, right? Is on the bottom, it's survival, right? And then the next is thrive, dream, right? Where we win is when we acknowledge the audience that we're targeting, whether that be our niche, qualified, or dream client, but we talk about concepts that they need to survive in order for them to take an action now, right? So I'll give you some examples for online business owners like ourselves. Like it could be, oops, not that. 1 sec, I didn't mean to erase. It could be that they need bookings, right? They need to sell, right? They need that to survive. To thrive, it could be, hey, I need to, build my authority. And a dream could be like, hey, they want to make a 7-figure business. And I'll give you some context. If my dream client is people that are wanting to scale, right, their business, and I talk about their dream of making a 7-figure business, that may be so outlandish where it's like, oh, that's cool, that's nice to have, but it won't work for me, so I'm just going to scroll past. Right? But if I'm like, hey, if my dream client is, someone, a 9-to-5er who wants to scale their online business and get that to, a profitable amount where they can get back their time, I'm going to talk about getting sales and booked appointment, waking up to booked appointments with their dream clients. Because one, that's more attainable and like, hey, I need this to survive. And basically what I'm saying to survive is to achieve whatever they want here. Right? So if whoever you're marketing to, if you're not marketing to like what they deem they need to survive, they could just scroll past. That's the same thing with us when you're creating your content to get agency clients. Then also like your aesthetic clients, that is most definitely a factor as well. The framework works for both. It's just we lose sight on that sometimes, right? In
Mhm.
terms of the topics. And that's not to say that we don't send them up to dream, right? But if we want sales now and results now, especially with your you know, if you want to emulate it, the authority funnel for your own clients, it would be this, whoever you're targeting here, focusing on whatever that avatar, what they think they need to survive. Like, is it moms that want to maintain buoyancy in their skin because they believe they're in an affluent area and they need to keep up their status? That could be a survival for a dream client, maybe not a niche client.
Right.
All right. So hopefully that helped. Or any questions on that?
You can see Brandon's wheels turning.
Mhm. No, yeah, we've talked about this, Jamie, about the what where we meet people with with their content, right? And this is kind of an extension of that to our clients,
For sure.
right? Like we talked about, you can message all of the, like for our prospecting, you can message, your messaging can all be about, oh, seven figure this, med spa this, but
But it
you're
might
gonna
not.
have, yeah, you're gonna be hitting, if they're not, survival is just like, I just want to pay myself for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do this. I want to hire my first esthetician,
Mhm.
right? I
Yeah.
or I just need enough bookings, right? Like how many times have you come across people who say, I I I believe I'm really good at what I do, but I just need people to know that.
Yeah.
I'm not even thinking about seven figures.
Mhm.
So this is like, okay, so now how do we do that for our clients and our partners
Yeah.
on to be able to pick and or to be able to call out the people in their service area for their treatments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest difference for us using this is that we are actually doing a lot of the work for them and we need them to get us the content versus telling them this is the game plan, you go and execute it. And so whether or not this girl that you talked to today or this clinic you talked to today does any of this, it doesn't affect you, Jordan, right? Whereas if we create this game plan with our clients and we need them to get us the content and the things and they don't, then it ends up being our fault that we have shit leads or whatever, right? And so I think it's figuring out how to use this and then also get them to take action.
Action.
Yeah.
The short answer would be for you guys to get your dream clients, right? So they're
Yes.
indoctrinated in the process, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Here's what I can say from just adopting this model from a point where it wasn't my dream clients until I got them, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Was acknowledge still the same framework, but script it out to a point where this is my best guess in terms of who I believe these people are. Obviously, if you're positioning it where it's like, hey, this is a growth partnership where we need to get on a call so I can define these things, I can help you script it out, but I need these things in your local area because every location is different. That's another thing.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
when I first started was I had a hypothesis, I scripted it out. Here it is. And then as I began to land clients with the authority funnel, I was like, hey, we need our first call. It's not an onboarding call. It's a brand activation call where we go over this. This will help me craft a messaging for you. And then now we're just coaching,
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
you know, and for
Yeah.
you guys, like, the main thing that
I
I
like
want you
that
to,
brand activation.
yeah, exactly. The main thing I want to, which I think will help both you and your clients is like this. Like if you focused in on this type, like attention and shareability of virality, what that does, at least for me, is like, you know, more one call closes,
Yeah.
uh, DM closes for me, which is cool. You know, on
Yeah.
the my client side, it helps with appointment setting, shows, and then like upsells and cross sells, right? So all
Yeah.
in all, like it helps tremendously, but most people don't do this because it sucks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like content, you know, most people think content sucks, right? I think it's cool, you know what I mean? And just
I
so
like
Mhm.
content too.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just so happens like this is where things are going. But
Mhm.
the reason why I was thinking about this today, the most people, why most of our agency clients are saying like ads don't work, and you know, you're my fifth agency or whatever, is because one, there's a lot of people entering the market, as you guys know, on our end and on med spas in general too, or your local clients. So there's a lot more of things grabbing people's attention away. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that's why ads aren't working and stuff, and we have to do a little bit more. And we're saying to our clients like, "Hey, you gotta call your leads and stuff," which I still recommend.
Mhm.
But if we also do focus on the content that also helps sell, that's where we win in terms of
Yeah.
Mhm.
keeping clients for longer, which I know is
Mhm.
your core value. So
Mhm.
Yeah. That's
Two
awesome.
questions for you, Jordan, because
yeah,
we actually have a very similar situation here.